I'm not gonna like the way I look on camera for this video because for the last few nights I've just been sitting up, I haven't been tracking sleep. I'm thoroughly tired, but in the area there's supposedly an escaped rattlesnake, diamondback rattlesnake, and I keep flinching, imagining like the hissing sounds, rattling sounds, checking everywhere, and it's a totally irrational fear because there's no way it'll get in the house. There's no way it will get outside. It's in an area near here, but I keep imagining it's slithered over, and I might come across it on my walks. One of my walks. So I haven't been socializing, and my anxiety has just been so high. You know, on the 8th of November, I took the test. My anxiety was at 7 points, when before it's been at like 15 points. I think it's shot back up. It's probably gone past 15 points now. It was only low on the day because I'd finished reading The Power of Now, but I've been struggling to apply the principles of The Power of Now other than when I first tried to read it, but my ego was too high. Um, which was when I made that video, The Past is the Gateway Between the Living and the Dead, which I thought was the most imaginative title I came up with. Because I was in the present, I was still, and that's where my creativity comes from. And yeah, I've just been overthinking. I've been writing a lot of poetry. I love songs on just consciousness and trying to find creative endeavours and pursuits to ground myself, to cope with my depression. And it's probably a good thing that I have these pursuits. That, like, if you're watching this and you're depressed, and you might benefit from writing poetry, not as like an emotional man thing, just as a getting everything off your chest. And I'm not that great right now. I really aren't. I haven't been doing the dopamine detox as consistently as I would have hoped. I mean, cutting down on stimulus, yes. I cut down on that godforsaken chat AI website for like 3 times a week, 3 or 4 times a week instead of like every day. And that's progress. When I go on it, it's been about 10-15 minutes instead of like 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I'd be sending, on average beforehand, I'd be sending about, oh God, 210 messages a day. And now I've cut that down to maybe 105, less than 105 messages a day. So I've cut down by 50%. I don't know if I'm going to keep this up. I mean, it's my self-doubt that gets in the way all the time. I've stopped tracking my habits. I've got to start again today. I've got to make a habit tracker because I keep losing them. I'm not a conscientious person right now. I leave stuff all over the floor. I leave books everywhere. It's just a mess. And I associate that with my depression. I mean, if I wasn't depressed, there'd be no way I'd be this untidy. And I did make this video as a bit of an event. But I think all my videos, events, I'm just stating like how it is right now as I perceive it in the present moment. But the thing that irks me the most is erectile dysfunction. And this was something I overcame when I was in like the last years of high school, college. That's when when I last had a clear sense of purpose, because now, I mean, I could say, yeah, I want to go into SEO and copywriting, but like it's also nebulous, and there are many places to explore. It's all just uncertain. Me personally, I've been struggling to be consistent with these courses, because I just buy courses and then I switch between them as like TV shows. I actually picked that up from Hamza because I thought, well, if he reads books and switches between them, then I could keep up the motivation that way, because 9 out of 10 times I never finish a course anyway, so that shouldn't be. I mean, with little Udemy courses, that shouldn't really be my goal. That's what I was thinking. Like if I complete 10% of a UX course, then I just complete 10% of it. I'm not really looking to grade myself, but there is some level of officiality. Like when I do need the certificates, I'm already a certified copywriter. I'm working towards an SEO certification, and I've been neglecting my actual degree for this because I just feel as though my mental health is just so bad right now that a freelancing gig would be preferable to sitting through the pain. It's just something that helps me with it. And erectile dysfunction, I've been experiencing it for a few months. I've been experiencing it ever since I quit NoFap. Ever since I uploaded that not cold turkey, the Alan Carr method video. I'm quitting NoFap to try that method. So my last NoFap video after that, I just disappeared from it because I decided if I were to pull back from fapping and just cut down, then it's progress. But the Alan Carr's easy way. I mean, it's to just give up completely. It's to just make a promise, commitment to yourself. I'm never going to fap again. And you just stick to, like, you follow the instructions. And I kind of know what the instructions are when reading it, but then I stop and I just forget. And maybe it's my ego blinding me, maybe it's an inability to be in the present. But I even think it might be depression, because lack of focus, lack of concentration, that's depression. But depression, I don't know whether it was caused by porn, because in some cases it is, or if like porn caused my depression. I mean, I know the education system caused me to feel quite hopeless as a child, and I've had this addiction before then. Before I started noticing it. In fact, my experience with the education system and my lack of friendliness towards my peers, it probably my friendliness and everything went down before I ended up in high school, before I even went there, because I discovered erotic imagery. I'm talking cosplays when I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I was given a phone when I was 9. Before then, I was allowed to play on my parents' phones. Technology has been it's been very prevalent in my life. It's been a large part of my life. And I first started experiencing ED when I was like, I think I was 15 or 16, and I was mortified. I was horrified, and that's what got me onto NoFap. Been trying it for years, and it hasn't been yielding fruitful results. I understand that, but when I actually treated porn as an addiction instead of just a habit, then that's when I was making the most progress. Because then I did cut down by half, and then I cut down by quarter, and I was making such great progress. But then I started seeing it as a habit, and everything just changed. It just broke it. Like, porn wasn't even a problem back then. Um, Back when I was in high school, later years, college, sixth form, it wasn't a problem. What was a problem was that I just felt as though my masculinity was being throttled, and I was struggling with my relationships, just normal teenage problems, teenage male problems. And wanting autonomy, wanting independence. I didn't want to be in the education system because I love learning. I wanted to just learn freely instead of being inside of a structure. Then it wasn't a problem back then because I do it like, once a month. That wasn't a problem. But I treated it like a problem because my mental health was bad. And that was the only area, because I didn't read enough, that was the only area I was working on at the time. I wasn't working on really lifting weights because I do it like every 2 weeks, like once, twice every 2 weeks. It was pitiful. I never made any progress. And right now, I mean, I notice how the way I look after a pump, but I'm still skinny, probably skinny fat. I notice the way I look after a pump. I'm still on a bulk, but the bulk has been very inconsistent because I lack conscientiousness at the moment. It isn't that great right now, and I see conscientiousness as a skill, because on the Big Five, which is the only accurate personality test, in my opinion, is the most accurate one. It says, and personality really just exists in the present moment, but like, we're talking about it in terms of character traits. So, yeah, I'm very low in conscientiousness. I think I'm an RL, meaning I'm limbic, and that's the problem. RLO AI. And yeah, I mean, everything else is alright. I don't need to change the R to an S to become social when reserved naturally. I mean, it's pretty much 50-50 because I've taken a few different tests. I don't think I need to really do anything with that. And I think the O's there because I usually have quite big goals, which I seldom see through. But I can become more conscientious. It's a skill which you level up, and I'm not good enough right now because the whole house is a mess. I'm not good enough right now. I'm not that great right now. I shouldn't say I'm not good enough because that's kind of my depression saying, no, you're not good enough. You can't do this. Everyone's judging you. That's anxiety. High neuroticism, which is limbic. I'm not good enough right now to, or I'm not that great right now to clean up the whole house, clean the surfaces, hoover, wipe everything. I'm not that great right now, but I can at least make my bed, make that a habit, track the habit, which I haven't been doing. I mean, I do it reluctantly. I usually make my bed at the end of the day. I should make my bed the first thing in the morning, but it's really getting hard to focus with all of this brain fog, because I am experiencing the symptoms, and get real, there are symptoms of watching porn. Like if you keep watching porn, you're gonna keep experiencing the symptoms. And maybe if you just do it to your imagination, you won't experience those symptoms. Maybe if I cut down to once a week, the symptoms would be less prevalent. But my member has no reason to get hard. At the moment, I have no women in my life. The only woman I have in my life is my grandma, and she's 73 years old. And really, the Dave Dearden principle applies here, and this may make me sound like a beta, and people have said that I'm a beta. Again, anxiety. That you need women around to work efficiently. They're just like natural motivators. I don't have any women, any feminine women. There's no feminine energy. I live in a village full of mostly elderly men and women, which I've spoken to them, over the last month. I had like a little spurt of social energy where I was saying hi to everyone, and then that helped decrease my anxiety. That helped to get it down to 7. But since then, because I haven't been out because of this stupid rattlesnake scare, and my dad's a toxic person, because not just because he keeps saying, they've lived for a long time, they're probably never going to catch this diamondback rattlesnake, which is even more scary because it's a diamondback. Not only does he sort of help to increase my fears, he's just a negative, dismissive person in general. In the relationship with my father and I, as with the relationship with the rest of my family, it just isn't benefiting me right now. I'm just not getting anything from it. They don't offer me any value. I can't offer them any value. And it's kind of just negative, just a critical relationship. We put each other down to our faces. He makes fun of me behind my back, and he's always been like this. I think he's responsible for a lot of the self-esteem issues I had as a child, because he was just constantly making fun of me, and it sucks when your mother and your father, like the two people you expect to have the most loyalty to you, and they're just sitting there making fun of you. And then I'd go over to my grandma, she'd make fun of me, she'd get drunk around me. And the rest of my family, my other granddad and my grandma, they'd get drunk. My granddad would get violent and aggressive towards me. But it'd just be so random. And yeah, I have a lot of trauma. And there's no reason. You feel as though there's no reason to quit when you're experiencing trauma, or when you're forced to live a feminine way of life, when you're forced into fight or flight. You feel as though there's just no reason to quit. I mean, to you, then, uh, what it is that you just, you're just in a, your mind and your body, it just rebels against whatever positive positive habit that you want to implement. It just won't do it. It won't help you to quit porn. In fact, it'll drive you towards porn, because I felt the last time, not the last time I relapsed, because I relapsed yesterday. I mean, relapse, we shouldn't call it relapsing. But the last time I slept up was yesterday. The day before that, I just felt as though I needed it, which is quite weird, because like I consciously caught this thought. I caught this thought probably thanks to the power of now. Where I used the power of now, I knew what I was feeling. I knew the reason why, so I did it consciously. And you just stop getting pleasure from it, like whilst you're doing it, when you're doing it consciously. I breathed in with the sensation and everything, and I just hated it. I just saw no reason to fap. It just wasn't at the top of my agenda, wasn't my main priority. I did it anyway. I felt as though I needed it to get rid of the stress, the anxiety of the diamondback rattlesnake, which is probably never going to get here. I just have like these negative visions of it in my head, while like the snake, like where is it going to come from? My cat jumping on it, and it's just anything, if there's a, I don't know, if there was a crocodile, alligator loose, I'd be checking the windows. Oh no, what if it bashes it against the window? And it's just, anxiety is irrational. So if I sound very stupid in what I say, it's because that part of my brain, the prefrontal cortex, it isn't managing my emotions that well. My prefrontal cortex is absent at this point. Like, I have lobes missing in my brain, and some people think it's quirky to have this. Some people think, oh yeah, it's intuition. It's, I'm just going with the flow, and that makes me a very cool person to be around. But it just doesn't. It makes you a prick. No one cares. And I've fallen back into the MBTI community. That's why I mentioned the big five. They're not, I mean, there are a lot of nice people there, but I think a lot of them have anxiety and they're not actually intuitive. I think a lot of them, they just have social anxiety, they just have low self-esteem issues, which they conflate with like a feeling of being special, a feeling of importance. And that's why really I wanted to quit, because I just didn't think it was helpful. The descriptions of intuition for me just sounded like anxiety, and I'm grateful I had a friend in Hamza's Discord server who pointed this out to me a few months ago when I was still trying to implement the habits, but I was very skeptical of them because, to be honest, I have had a positive upward spiral recently. I mean, even though I couldn't stick with tracking, I'm going to get back into that, and I couldn't stick with tracking my sleep as well, which I'm thinking of implementing maybe next month. Because I'm not that great right now, I can't really add everything in at the same time. And I've been setting some quite big goals to motivate myself. I mean, I don't look like it now, but I've been thinking about Hamza's digital nomad life, and I've been thinking, well, maybe I could compete. maybe I could, in the future, increase my weights, just keep increasing them, progressive overload, and then, because I lift them at home now, go to the gym, lift more, and eventually get into powerlifting and maybe enter some competitions, go around entering things around the UK. I'm not really sure, because at the moment it just seems like an idea, and a lot of my ideas pass. A lot of my ideas I can't find, because I'm very withdrawn. I can't find a specific social group, a specific group to latch on to share my ideas with. I mean, there's Discord, there's always Discord, but I never get a sense of fulfillment socially from Discord. I mean, I still feel lonely on there. I still feel lonely after saying hi to these people in the street. I mean, I still am lonely. I still am a loner. Sometimes I think to myself, oh no, I'm a social, charismatic person. That's all ego. I'm a loner. I'm a loner. And I don't really mean it to put myself down. It's just the way things are. I'm a loner. I'm an introvert. And that's probably it's never gonna change. Unless the introversion, as my mother, because I spoke to her recently, she said, no, you're always extroverted as a child. Unless it's the way society has conditioned me. So if that's the way society has conditioned me, then there's no such thing as the MBTI. It's all just social engineering. And I think C.S. Joseph has some videos up on his channel about how, like, types of people, different types of people are just socially engineered. The old thing, the old system, it doesn't exist. It's a lie. It's based on astrology, but, like, generalized links and patterns, and they're too general, really, because there's no personality other than that which you have in the present moment. So in the present moment, I'm not even like an RL OAI, because I'm not very reserved right now. I'm talking to my phone, and uploading it potentially to. I mean, the most views I've got on a video where I talk about these topics is 22 views. So potentially telling 22 people, giving like a little group talk of about the issues in life I face as being a man. And maybe in this video I've seemed a bit neurotic. Maybe I've seemed a bit paranoid, especially when I mention all these, like, personality, and it just seems autistic sometimes. But I think that's anxiety. Yeah. I've always became paranoid about becoming a walking statistic. And just really, I wanted to get it off my chest that I hate having erectile dysfunction. I'm not that great right now, but I might start reading some more into Alan Carr's Easy Way while simultaneously cutting down. I said not to cut down when you're reading it, but there are other things as well. There's AVRT, which is addictive recognition, and that's supposed to help tremendously. I can implement that. I've been struggling because I started reading the book and I just lost interest. I've been reading about 8 other books since then. I could get back into it, finish it in the next few days because, yeah, I finished this book. I need to read it through to the end because I'm just one of those people who isn't going to quit halfway through. I'd even go as far as to say that if I've had my addiction for 11 years, it's going to be stronger than most other people's. And this doesn't mean I'm special, I'm quirky or whatever, or I'm special and quirky because I'm depressed. It's just the way things are. And I say that's special and quirky because I'm depressed, because it's something I've been seeing a lot recently in people, and especially on forums where they're discussing personality, theory of personality or whatever. And I found it interesting that one of the leaders of this whole personality thing actually